Riyria books are often full of Easter eggs, and the most recent release, Drumindor, is no exception. So today, we're going to cover 11 of the Easter eggs you may or may not have noticed. This video will include spoilers for Drumindor, as well as minor spoilers for Age of War, Age of Swords, Fairlane, The Crown Tower, and Riyria Revelations. Let's get started. For number 1, we're going to start with the largest Easter egg, which is the movie Casablanca. Casablanca was a 1942 movie set during World War II, which clearly acted as a huge influence on Drumindor. Whether we are talking about rigging a casino to win money to help a man's spouse,
I said 22.
Marquons les jeux, mesdames et messieurs. Les jeux sont faits, la partie continue. Marquons les jeux. Fini. 22. Noir, pair et passe. 22.
the dwarves singing the Belgic anthem in a danthem, or Oberon telling Sloane, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship."
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
There are certainly more nods to Casablanca I am not mentioning, so feel free to put those in the comments if you noticed any others. When Hadrian doesn't know the name of the dwarven princess Beatrice, the dwarves scoff, but Sloane waved them down, chiding them with, "And I'm guessing you know the names of all their princesses, do ya?" "Only the one," Beric bellowed, using his height to speak above the crowd. "And we'd all just as well forget her." This is a reference to the human princess Fairlane, who challenged the dwarven lord Reinhardt, who was trying to rally the fractured dwarven kingdom. She ruined his reputation, which led to the disintegration of the dwarven kingdom. At the beginning, when Hadrian and Royce are heading back to Medford from their job at the Traval estate, they stop for the night at the Silver Pitcher Inn. This is the same inn that Hadrian, Royce, and Ulrich stop at during the Crown Conspiracy when Ulrich leaves the group. When Heath asks Hadrian if he is familiar with river barges, Hadrian states, "I am. I traveled from Bernays to Colnora on one. Not a great experience." Hadrian is talking about in the Crown Tower when he was on the river barge with Royce, unbeknownst to him, and most of the passengers are murdered. In that same conversation between Heath and Hadrian, they are discussing the improvements Heath will be making to future stagecoaches, and he mentions that a skilled coach craftsman named Bartholomew from Terran Vale is helping them. This is the same Bartholomew that is the father of Amelia, the future secretary and friend to Empress Modena. And one final Heath Easter egg? Heath tells Hadrian about how his mother and siblings all died in the Fallenmeyer plague. This is the same plague that was mentioned in Riyria Revelations that supposedly Monsignor Merton assisted in stopping from spreading. This next one is a bit of a reverse Easter egg. The relationship between Maleficent and Hadrian is significant in Drumindor. Many years later in Avanpartha, we find that Hadrian has named his horse Millie. When asked about the name, he states, "I call her Millie, after a woman I once knew who had the same habit of not listening to me." Multiple times throughout Drumindor, we see dwarves derogatively referred to as Gronbacks. And Arcadius mentions that certain stories such as Little Wren and the Big Forest have painted the dwarves in a negative light. All of this stems from Age of Swords, where the dwarven mayor of Carrick, Gronback, treated Persephone and her party, including Bryn, very poorly. When writing her Book of Bryn, Bryn stated, "Everyone will know there was an evil dwarf named Gronback." Malcolm tried to warn her about the unintended consequences during this interaction. "Are you referring to Gronback? Because that vile mole has earned every negative thing I wrote about him." "The dwarf?" Malcolm paused and thought a moment. "Well, I wasn't referring to him specifically, but now that you bring it up, I should point out that you run the risk of painting a whole race with the same ugly brush. which could have unexpected consequences in the future. But regardless, Brynn would go through with her threat, painting Gronbach in a very poor light, including writing the fairy tale Little Wren in the Big Forest, which had an evil dwarf named Gronbach. This next one is my personal favorite. As Hadrian and Royce are fighting Falkirk, who is a Rao, they think the ginger-dead man had proven himself to be extremely dangerous, not quite as fast as lightning, but not much slower either. It is the wording of not quite as fast as lightning that is very clever here. See, out of the many different Rao we have seen in Elan, almost every single one is too fast and too strong to be beaten physically, instead needing magic to defeat. But there is one instance of a Rao being killed with physical weapons in Age of War. The Rao fled into Sebek. Lightning pierced the Rao's chest, the tip passing all the way through its body. That Rao was definitely not as fast as lightning. When Riyria Revelations first came out, Royce and Hadrian spoke about how they had both climbed the Crown Tower twice. But years later, when the prequel, The Crown Tower, was released, we saw that Hadrian only climbs it once. So, in Drumindor, we got this exchange. "You know," Hadrian said, "the last time we climbed a massive tower, you wanted to kill me. You hoped I'd fall. Third time's the charm. Then you're out of luck. This will only be my second." Hadrian scooped another mouthful and chewed as he watched Royce, who appeared perplexed. "No, that's not right," Royce finally said. "We climbed the Crown Tower twice." "You did. I only made the one trip. The first time you went up alone, remember?" This is showing the pair starting to forget their own past, setting up their mistaken statement in Revelations. And for our final Easter egg, after Wren, aka Pickles, successfully warns Hadrian about the crossbow about to hit him, he states, "I did better this time," Wren said. "So much better with the watching and the warning. Didn't I, Master Hadrian?" This is a callback to the Crown Tower. Right after Hadrian and Pickles arrive at Sheridan University, they had this interaction. Hadrian frowned. "I still need you to watch my back. A simple warning could save my life." "Oh yes, this is true." Pickles' head was bouncing up and down in a motion that was far too enthusiastic to be a mere nod. "You are far too trusting. I will come and do the watching and the warning." Thank you so much for watching today's video. Be sure to subscribe and watch my other videos to learn more about the world of Elan and Riyria. Thanks!